Long before the world spoke of Greece or Rome, long before Europe dreamt of kings, there was a land where bronze melted like water, where drums spoke louder than tongues, where wisdom walked with man, and where destiny itself was born. This land is Yorubaland. Before we dive into the main story, subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell notification button for more interesting videos like this. In the beginning, the descent at Ife. According to Yoruba sacred history, before the sea, before the earth, and before the sun rose for the first time, there was only the vast emptiness of space. Olodumare, the supreme creator, called forth Obatala and later Odùduwà, giving them a mission: go and create a world where humanity will flourish. With a chain of light descending from the heavens, Odùduwà dropped into a swirling void and landed on a spot that would become Ile-Ife, the cradle of the Yoruba people. He poured sand upon the waters, released the sacred five-toed hen to scatter the earth, and from that divine moment, land emerged. Thus, Ile-Ife became the first home of mankind in Yoruba cosmology, the source of the world, Ile-Ife Onrinai. And Odùduwà became the first Uni, the ancestral father of all Yoruba people. Odùduwà had many children, princes and princesses who eventually founded kingdoms across the land. That is why all Yoruba, regardless of kingdom or dialect, proudly proclaim, Awa and I Omo Odùduwà. We are children of Odùduwà. Among his descendants were the early rulers of Benin in some traditions, Kid, Ajibo, Ondo, Ekiti, Sango's lineage, Ajero, Igbamina, Ilorin's early Yoruba structure, and countless other sub-kingdoms. This is why Yoruba Obas, from the mighty elephant of Oyo to the Ojali of Ijebu, to the Olubadan of Ibadan, down to the smallest traditional ruler, all trace their lineage back to Ile-Ife. When an Oba rises, kneels, or greets the Uni of Ife, he does so not out of subservience but out of ancestral acknowledgement, for Ife is the root, and the Uni remains the spiritual head of Yorubaland. Long before Europeans ever saw West Africa, the Yoruba civilization flourished. Art and bronze casting. The Ife bronze heads are among the most advanced sculptures in human history. Scholars once doubted Africans could produce such perfection, until carbon dating proved they were over 700 years old. Governance and political structure. Yoruba kingdoms had a council of chiefs, checks and balances, Ogboni Iomasai, democratic traditions, constitutional rules that even the king must obey. Alifin could be forced to open the calabash and leave the throne if he failed his people. Ancient Yoruba democracy existed before some European nations even formed. Ife walls stretched over 100 miles, rivaling ancient city fortifications. Yoruba had lunar calendars, sophisticated rainfall prediction, herbal medicine, and metallurgy techniques that baffled scholars. Commerce and trade. Yoruba were master traders. Oyo Empire controlled the Trans-Sahara routes. Ijebu were the kings of coastal commerce. Ekiti were specialists in crafts and textiles. Owo produced elite bronze and ivory. The Yoruba built cities, not just villages. Ibadan became one of the largest cities in Africa by the 1800s. Yoruba clothing, a world of prestige. Yoruba fashion has always been a symbol of royalty, pride, and cultural power. Aso-oke, woven by hand, worn by kings and brides. Agbada, flowing robes that represent authority and dignity. Ipel and Geli, queenly statements of elegance. Iro and Buba, timeless expressions of feminine grace. Every fabric tells a story. Every pattern whispers an ancestral memory. In Yorubaland, drums do not just make sound, they speak language. Bata talks to Sango. Dundan speaks Yoruba tones perfectly. Gangan is used to send messages across villages. Galuda music honors mothers and the power of womanhood. And others like Gbadu, Gongon, Sakara. Amali. And from these traditions came legendary musicians. Haruna Ishola, Kasumu Adio, Ainlo Maura, Saka Lagbade, Ian Barrister, King Sunny Ade, Fela Anikulapo Kuti, Kolingthon Ianla, Salawa Abani, Wasio Ian Marshall, Cersina Peter, Lagbaha and many more. Yoruba music gave birth to genres like Apala, Fuji, Juju, Highlife, and even influenced Afrobeats today. Global spread, Yoruba across the world. Through migration, trade, and the painful history of the transatlantic slave era, Yoruba traditions spread globally. Today, Yoruba descendants and Yoruba religion exist in Brazil, Candomblé. Orissa worship thrives with millions of followers. Cuba, Santeria. Sango becomes Chango, Yamoja becomes Yamaya. Trinidad and Tobago. Ifa traditions remain strong. United States and UK. Thriving diaspora communities practice Ifa and Orissa devotion. Benin Republic and Togo. Ancient Yoruba kingdoms still stand proudly. Sierra Leone and Liberia. Large Yoruba-descended communities remain culturally connected. Yoruba culture is alive in their dance, food, names, music, and spiritual traditions. The Orisa did not die, they evolved across the seas. Orisa tradition, a global spiritual power. Ifa is not merely a religion. It is a philosophy, a science, a code of ethics, a guide to destiny. The Babalawo interprets Ifa through Odu, offering wisdom that has guided Yoruba people for over 2,000 years. Orisa is alive today in Brazil, Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Mexico, Venezuela, United States, UK, West Africa, and in every place the drum calls, the spirits answer. Today, Yoruba civilization continues to rise. Technology, movies, music, fashion, tourism, traditional kingship, global Ifa revival. Yoruba culture is on the verge of a new golden age. The world is watching. The ancestors are watching. The future is calling. And the question remains: will the descendants of Odùduwà rise again to reclaim their place as one of the greatest civilizations in human history? When princes became kings. After the passing of Odùduwà, the land mourned. Drums went silent. Jellied masks were lowered. The Uni's palace was covered in white cloth. But destiny does not wait for grief to end. The princes and princesses of Odùduwà gathered for council at the great courtyard of Ile-Ife. Their faces were carved with determination, each one burning with ambition and divine purpose. The sacred Ifa oracle was consulted, and the message was clear. The world is vast. Spread, build, reign. For your roots are one, but your branches must cover the earth. And so they left Ife in all directions. One headed north and founded Oyo. Another journeyed south to create Ijebu-Ode. One traveled east, birthing the kingdoms of Ondo and Owo. Others moved west into present-day Benin and Togo. Some formed the ancient cities of Ekiti, Kogi, Kwara, Igbamina, and beyond. Each kingdom carried the stamp of Odùduwà, the culture, the governance, the reverence for Orisa, and the pride of Yoruba identity. This era became known as Akoko Irasale Omo Odùduwà, the age of the rising children of Odùduwà. Oyo Empire, the thunder of the north. Of all the children, one stood out: Oranmiyan, warrior, commander, kingmaker, fire in his spirit, storm in his heart. Some say he was the son of Odùduwà himself. Some say he was born of a mystery. All agree he was destined for greatness. He founded the city of Oyo. From Oyo, he created an empire so vast that neighboring kingdoms trembled at the sound of the cavalry. With the legendary Eso Ikoyi warriors, Oyo could mobilize 10,000 horsemen, 50,000 foot soldiers, ranks divided with military precision. European travelers once wrote that Oyo's cavalry was Africa's greatest military force south of the Sahara. And their war drums? They didn't just beat, they roared. The might of Yoruba political genius. What made Yoruba kingdoms so powerful was not only their armies, but their political engineering. Yoruba developed a system that balanced monarchy with democracy. Uni of Ife, spiritual father. Alafin of Oyo, imperial sovereign. Ogboni, council of elders protecting justice. Iomasai, kingmakers who could check a king's power. Bals and Obas, local rulers with autonomy. No king ruled absolutely. No decision was made alone. This system was centuries ahead of its time, predating modern democracies. Culture that breathed life into civilizations. As the kingdom spread, so did Yoruba culture. Masquerades, Egungun, representing the ancestors, dancing in colorful layers, their presence brought blessings, warnings, and protection. Guluda society, honoring our mothers, the powerful female spiritual forces of the world. Oral rituals, guardians of tradition and justice, keeping moral order in communities. Odu Ifa knowledge system, a universe of 256 chapters containing history, philosophy, medicine, governance advice, relationship guidance, warfare strategies, healing rituals. It was, and still is, one of the most advanced intellectual systems in African history. The great Yoruba traders, kings of commerce. The Yoruba were not only warriors and priests, they were exceptional traders. Their markets became the economic heartbeat of West Africa. Ijebu controlled international trade routes. Egba managed forest commerce. Ibadan grew into a megacity of agriculture and marketplace dominance. Owo and Ondo traded ivory, coral beads, artworks, and medicinal herbs. Lagos became a powerful port city for global exchange. Yoruba traders traveled with cowries, beads, leather bags, kola nuts, and gold dust. Their business ethics were respected across kingdoms. Even today, Yoruba remain among the most successful entrepreneurs in Africa and the diaspora. Commerce is in their blood. Trade is in their breath. Investment is in their destiny. Yoruba art, clothing, and music, echoes of the ancestors. Yoruba creativity reflected the soul of the people. Clothing. Kings wore added crowns, veiled to connect them to the spirit world. Women wore asook, wove sanyan, and styled geli with royalty. Hunters wore sohun charms, blending fashion with spirituality. Music. Bata for sango. Gongon that speaks in tones. Sakir made of gourd and beads. Ajala chants for hunters. Yui poetry for nobles. Apala juju fuji that later shaped modern African sound. Yoruba music was not entertainment, it was communication with heaven. Yoruba migration and global influence. As centuries passed, Yoruba people spread across the world, willingly through travel and tragically through forced migration. Today Yoruba culture thrives in Americas, Brazil, Candomblé, Ile-Ife, Cuba, Santeria/Lukumi, Haiti, Trinidad, Mexico, USA, Europe, UK, Portugal, France, Africa, Benin, Togo, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Ivory Coast. Wherever Yoruba footsteps touch the earth, they plant culture, music, food, names, and spirituality. The return of the Orisa, a global revival. Across the world, millions are returning to Ifa divination, Orisa worship, Yoruba festivals, Yoruba names, Yoruba spirituality. Even non-Yoruba people are becoming initiates drawn by the wisdom of Ifa, the beauty of Orisa, the power of ancestral culture. The Orisa did not fade. They waited. Now they rise again. A new dawn approaches. The Uni sits on the ancient throne in Ile-Ife. The Alafins' lineage continues. The drums of Sango still echo. The markets of Lagos still roar. The diaspora reconnects. Ifa spreads. Culture thrives. Art blooms. And Yoruba influence grows stronger every decade. But destiny whispers a question. As the children of Odùduwà rise again, will they unite once more under wisdom, heritage, and purpose, and reclaim their place as one of the world's greatest civilizations? The answer lies in the hands of the next generation. Want more stories like this? Hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our story, because this is just getting started.